"Daddy, please help her." A single dad stopped two men. The next day, a CEO found him. The little girl's trembling voice echoed through the empty parking lot just as the evening rain began to fall. "Daddy, please help her." Those four desperate words cut through the darkness stronger than any scream ever could. A tired single father carrying grocery bags and holding his daughter's tiny hand froze in place. 20 yards away, two men surrounded a frightened elderly woman, trying to snatch her purse while everyone else hurried past pretending not to notice. In that unforgettable moment, one exhausted father had a choice. He could protect only his daughter and walk away, or risk everything for a stranger. He never imagined that the decision he made in the next 60 seconds would completely change the course of his life before the next sunrise. If you believe kindness still exists, that good people deserve second chances, and that one brave decision can change everything, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us humanity is never truly lost. Ethan Carter had once believed life followed a simple plan. Work hard, love your family, save for the future, and everything would somehow fall into place. But life had shattered those dreams one painful piece at a time. 3 years earlier, his wife, Grace, had lost her battle with a sudden illness, leaving Ethan alone to raise their 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Overnight he became both father and mother, provider and comforter, teacher and protector. Every morning began before sunrise. He packed lunches, braided Lily's hair after watching online tutorials dozens of times, dropped her off at school, worked long shifts as a warehouse laborer, picked her up, cooked dinner, helped with homework, cleaned their tiny apartment, and finally collapsed into bed long after midnight. Money never seemed to last until the end of the month. Bills stacked higher than hope. Their aging car broke down almost every other week. Some nights Ethan skipped dinner so Lily could have a full plate. He never complained because every sacrifice seemed worthwhile whenever she smiled. That smile reminded him of Grace, and it became the reason he refused to give up. Lily noticed more than Ethan realized. She saw him quietly counting coins before buying groceries. She watched him pretend he wasn't hungry. She heard him whisper prayers late at night after thinking she had fallen asleep. Although she was only 9 years old now, her heart carried a maturity far beyond her age. She often slipped little notes into his lunch bag that simply read, "You're the best daddy in the world." Those handwritten notes became Ethan's greatest treasures. That rainy Friday evening they stopped at a neighborhood grocery store after Ethan finished another exhausting shift. Their cart held only necessities: bread, milk, eggs, pasta, canned soup, and Lily's favorite apples, a luxury Ethan always made room for no matter how tight the budget became. As they crossed the nearly empty parking lot toward their old pickup truck, Lily suddenly squeezed Ethan's hand tighter. She had seen something he had not. An elderly woman struggled to keep hold of her purse while two young men cornered her beside a parked SUV. One grabbed the purse while the other shoved her backward. She stumbled against the vehicle, terrified and helpless. "Daddy, please help her." Those words came without hesitation. Fear flashed through Ethan's mind. He knew confronting two desperate criminals could end badly. He looked at Lily standing beside him. Protecting her had always been his first responsibility. Then he looked at the frightened woman. Without another thought, Ethan handed Lily the grocery bags. He told her to stay behind a nearby car and never move until he returned. His heart pounded as he walked toward the men. He didn't carry a weapon. He wasn't a trained fighter. He was simply a father who refused to watch evil happen while pretending it wasn't his problem. He shouted loudly enough to make them turn around. His sudden appearance startled them. One tried threatening him while the other attempted to drag the woman's purse away. Ethan refused to back down. He stepped directly between them and the terrified woman. The confrontation lasted less than a minute, yet every second felt endless. One attacker shoved Ethan hard enough to knock him against a vehicle. Another swung at him, splitting his lip. Ethan fought only long enough to give the woman a chance to escape. His loud shouts finally attracted nearby shoppers and a security guard running across the parking lot. Seeing people approaching, the two men fled into the darkness before police arrived. Ethan leaned against a car, breathing heavily as blood mixed with rainwater on his face. Lily ran into his arms crying. She wasn't frightened because of the fight. She was frightened because she almost lost the only parent she had left. The elderly woman hugged Ethan through tears. She kept thanking him over and over again, saying no one else had even slowed down to help. Ethan simply smiled and assured her anyone would have done the same. Deep inside, however, he knew that wasn't true. Many people had watched. Almost everyone had walked away. After giving statements to the police, Ethan and Lily finally returned home. Their groceries were soaked. Ethan's face ached. His shoulder throbbed from being thrown against the car. Yet that evening felt strangely peaceful. As Lily tucked him into the old recliner with an ice pack against his cheek, she whispered something he would remember forever. "My mommy would be proud of you." Those simple words healed wounds no medicine ever could. Across town, another story was unfolding. The elderly woman Ethan had rescued was Margaret Whitmore. Few people recognized her without the elegant clothes and expensive jewelry she usually wore. She happened to be the mother of Daniel Whitmore, founder and CEO of one of America's fastest-growing logistics companies employing thousands across several states. Margaret never spoke much about wealth. She cared far more about character than success. When Daniel rushed to her home after hearing what had happened, she ignored questions about the robbery. Instead, she described the tired father who risked everything for someone he had never met. She couldn't stop talking about Lily. She described the little girl's voice begging her father to help a stranger. Daniel listened carefully. Then he asked the question that changed everything. "Did you get his name?" Fortunately, the police report had it. Ethan Carter. The following morning Ethan woke before dawn, just like every other Saturday. Extra shifts meant extra money. His bruises hurt with every movement, but missing work wasn't an option. As he prepared breakfast, someone knocked on the apartment door. Standing outside were two professionally dressed men. Ethan immediately worried about unpaid bills. Instead, one politely introduced himself as Daniel Whitmore. Ethan stared blankly. The name meant nothing. Daniel smiled warmly before explaining who his mother was. Recognition slowly appeared on Ethan's face. He invited them into the modest apartment, apologizing for the worn furniture and cramped space. Daniel noticed everything. The patched curtains. The carefully repaired kitchen table. The tiny shoes lined neatly beside the door. The framed family photograph where Grace smiled beside Ethan while holding baby Lily. Most of all, he noticed the atmosphere. Despite having almost nothing, the apartment overflowed with love. Daniel thanked Ethan for saving his mother's life. Ethan awkwardly insisted he had only done what anyone should have done. Daniel quietly replied that very few actually would. During their conversation Daniel learned Ethan had once supervised warehouse operations before leaving management to accept lower-paying work with flexible hours after Grace passed away. Childcare had become impossible otherwise. Daniel also discovered Ethan had never missed one of Lily's school performances despite working multiple jobs. When Lily returned from her neighbor's apartment, Daniel watched the father and daughter interact naturally. No performance. No attempt to impress anyone. Just genuine love. Daniel saw something impossible to fake. Integrity. Before leaving, Daniel handed Ethan a business card. He invited him to visit company headquarters Monday morning. Not for charity. For an opportunity. Ethan almost didn't go. People with money often made promises they quickly forgot. Still, Lily convinced him. She ironed his only dress shirt using careful little hands. She told him Mommy always said courage sometimes looked like simply showing up. Monday morning Ethan entered Whitmore Logistics expecting a brief thank you meeting. Instead he found executives waiting. Daniel personally greeted him. Then he did something completely unexpected. He introduced Ethan to the leadership team as the kind of man every company needed. Not because he had won a fight. Because character revealed itself when no reward existed. Daniel explained that businesses could teach skills. They could not teach integrity. He offered Ethan a management position overseeing regional warehouse operations, complete with training, health insurance, retirement benefits, flexible scheduling for Lily, and a salary nearly triple what Ethan currently earned. For several seconds Ethan couldn't speak. He honestly believed someone else deserved the opportunity more. Daniel simply smiled. "No," he said quietly. "Someone else may deserve the position. But you earned my trust." Tears filled Ethan's eyes. For years he had prayed not for wealth but for stability. For one chance. For one open door. That door now stood before him. Months passed. Life slowly transformed. They moved into a comfortable home where Lily finally had her own bedroom painted pale blue, exactly the color she had always wanted. Ethan no longer worried whether groceries would last until payday. He attended every parent-teacher conference without begging supervisors for permission. Weekends became family adventures instead of overtime shifts. Yet success never changed him. Every Friday evening Ethan and Lily volunteered at a local food pantry. Sometimes they quietly paid for groceries belonging to struggling families standing in checkout lines. No cameras. No announcements. No social media posts. Only kindness. Daniel often watched from a distance. He realized he had not simply hired an employee. He had gained a friend whose values reminded everyone inside the company that success meant very little without compassion. The greatest surprise came 1 year later. During the company's annual leadership conference attended by hundreds of employees, Daniel invited Ethan onto the stage. He told the entire story. Not focusing on the fight. Not focusing on the promotion. Instead he focused on one sentence spoken by a little girl. "Daddy, please help her." Daniel explained that those 4 words represented the culture he wanted throughout the company. Help people. Especially when nobody is watching. The audience stood in thunderous applause. Lily watched proudly from the front row holding a framed picture of her mother. She whispered that she wished Mommy could see them now. Ethan smiled through tears because somehow he believed Grace already had. Before we reach the end of this unforgettable journey, we have one special request. Please leave a comment with the words, "Kindness always wins," if you believe even one act of courage can change someone's future. Your words may encourage another person who desperately needs hope today. Years later people often asked Ethan what the greatest reward had been for stopping those 2 men. They assumed it was the promotion. The salary. The beautiful home. The successful career. Ethan always gave the same answer. The greatest reward was hearing his daughter grow into a young woman who never stopped believing that helping others was worth every risk. She became a nurse, inspired by that rainy evening when she learned courage wasn't about being fearless. It was about choosing compassion even when fear was present. Sometimes the smallest voices speak the greatest truths. Sometimes exhausted fathers become unlikely heroes. Sometimes a stranger's gratitude becomes another family's miracle. And sometimes one ordinary decision made in an ordinary parking lot changes generations that haven't even been born yet. Because real heroes rarely wear capes. They carry grocery bags. They work overtime. They wipe away their children's tears. They keep going when life gives them every reason to quit. And when someone cries for help, they answer. If this story touched your heart, reminded you that kindness still exists, or inspired you to believe that one good deed can truly change a life, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that bring hope, faith, and compassion to people around the world. No matter how difficult life becomes, never underestimate the power of one brave choice. The world may never remember every act of kindness you perform, but somewhere, in someone's life, your courage may become the beginning of their happiest tomorrow.